Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my preview of the Chelsea versus Watford game, which is taking place tomorrow at 12:30, well, lunchtime, obviously at Stamford Bridge. Before actually starting the preview, as we couldn't do a stream last night, I want to address something about the Roma game and some fans' reaction. More and more people are saying Conte out. Rumours have come out that some players are not happy with Conte's tough training sessions, which might be true, but isn't as much of an issue as the media make it out to be. But people have criticised Conte's subs against Roma. And let me please explain why he did what he did, and why he can't do what would solve our problems. So he took David Luiz off in the 57th minute. David Luiz was feeling a slight pain in his calf, and that's why Conte brought him off. Conte had to protect him because we've got massive games coming up, and we need as many players fit and available as possible. Glenn Hoddle and Frank Lampard made a very good point on the BT Sports coverage of the game, saying that we got exposed on the flanks in the first half because of our 3-5-2. Our wing-backs, Fabregas and Alonso, were basically up against two players each. They're attacking fullbacks in Kolarov and Perez, and also their two normal wingers. And as that is too much to handle for almost any fullback slash wingback, let alone for players that are good but not that great in Fabregas and Alonso. So by bringing Pedro on for David Luiz, Conte changed to the 3-4-3, which straight away meant that we had a lot less pressure coming from the flanks. The flip side to that obviously is taking off a CDM for a winger to cover the flanks. We were more open in midfield. With Conte, that may well have worked, but you know, he's injured. But at the same time, the two goals we did concede after taking David Luiz off didn't have much to do with having a CDM less on the pitch, to be honest. Maybe we could have closed down the passer to Dzeko's wonder goal down a little bit quicker, but that's just hoping and guessing. But Roma had only 3 actual chances after the 57th minute. They scored 2 of them, and Dzeko missed the last one in the 81st minute, thankfully. Now, if you compare that to the first 57 minutes, they had so many more chances in that period. Not just because it's, you know, more time, but like even in comparison to chances per minute, they had a lot more chances. So Conte's tactical change worked. If it wasn't for Dzeko's genius and Bakayoko's stupidity with that stupid foul from which free kick, they obviously made it 3-2. Like I said, it kind of worked. They had less chances. Not saying we were much better attacking-wise, but, you know, Roma were so much on top of us, creating so many half chances, creating so many almost moments where we got lucky a little bit sometimes, and it kind of stopped that a little bit. Now, you might say, well, if we can't expose our wing-backs, so we need wingers in front of them, and we need 3 central midfielders, so we're not exposed in the middle, shouldn't we go 3-4-3? Well, yes, maybe we should. But why don't we? Well, because we don't have enough players, for goodness sake. We only have 2 fullbacks, Zappacosta and Azpilicueta, which if we played 3-4-3 would mean Azpilicueta would have to go to the left-back spot again, which so many of us criticised Mourinho for in the 15-16 season. But neither Alonso nor Moses are anyone near good enough to be a full-on fullback with only 2 centre-backs next to them / behind them. Also, I don't think Conte really trusts any of our centre-backs to play in the centre-back 2, not even David Luiz, who Conte rates very highly. So with the formations that we use, either 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, we have issues at some part of the pitch. And we don't have the squad depth to go, you know, to, for example, a 4-3-3, you know, more regularly, other than just in a, you know, a few games here and there. Without Conte, we're just in a massive pickle, because with him playing 2 CMs, it's almost like playing 3 CMs. That's why it worked so well last season. If we had someone else instead of Conte there, if we had, I don't know, just Matic and Fabregas every game, we wouldn't have won the league like that, I don't think. Now, obviously, there is a question, why can't we do to teams what Roma did to us? Basically put us under pressure for 90 minutes. Well, I don't know, to be honest. I'd say our players' squad is more than good enough to do that against most teams. But even when Conte sets out attackingly, which he doesn't do a lot, but even when he did last season, we don't actually manage to do that very often, that we put a team under pressure for basically a whole 90 minutes. The reason or the reasons for that, I have to admit, I don't know. I really don't understand it. We should be capable of doing it, but for some reason we're not. We haven't been capable of doing it basically since the Carlo Ancelotti days. You know, more regularly. In a lot of games in succession, we haven't really been able to do that. I don't know why. We've basically always had good enough players to do so against most teams. For some reason, we just can't do it. I mean, we have Eden Hazard, one of the, say, top 5, 7, 8 players in the world, depending on where you rank him. We have a very good striker in Alvaro Morata. We have good defenders. We have one of the top 4 goalkeepers in the world. You know, it doesn't make any sense, but it is just what it is. But mainly what my point was just explaining Conte's substitutions. That what he did was actually good, and that Conte has a very limited squad in numbers, and in some positions also limited quality to deal with. So please stop the Conte out brigade. Blame the board for putting us in this situation, for not signing enough players in the right positions. I've been saying this since before the end of last season. We needed more players and better players for next season, is what I said in April, in May. But did we get it? Of course not. People told me, all right, we have to calm down. We're playing in 4 competitions and one of them hasn't even started yet. We're playing 3 games every week. Well, we're playing every 3 days anyway. Our players can't handle that. We can't rotate because we don't have good enough players or enough available players that aren't injured to actually rotate. Okay, now that took a lot longer than I hoped it would do. But I had to explain it because the stupid hate on Conte and the Conte out brigade is getting on my nerves a lot. Now actually getting into the preview. We're up against Watford, as I said earlier, who couldn't be on better form to be honest. Currently sit in 4th, 1 spot ahead of us, 2 points ahead of us. Winning 4, drawing 3 and only losing 1 game. Fair enough, that loss was 6-0 to Manchester City, but still even in that game they were decent enough, I'd say. Arguably, they should have had 2 penalties in that game. City, at the moment, are just too good for anyone, really. Although 6-0 was definitely not a fair result in that game, from what I saw anyway. Just last weekend, they beat Arsenal at home with a last-minute winner by Tom Cleverley. Obviously, 2-1. They have a very good manager in Marco Silva as well. They didn't have a midweek game like we did, which of course will be an advantage to them. Their goals come from all over the pitch as well, which is quite scary to be honest. Like us, they have scored 13 goals so far this season, yet their top goal scorer so far is Richarlison, I don't really know how to pronounce his name to be honest, with only 3 goals. You know, they attack from all over the place. The midfielder scoring goals, fullback scoring goals, striker scoring goals, winger scoring goals. They're a good team, they're set up very well. Obviously they've strengthened with Andre Gray over the summer, which was a very good addition to their squad, gives them a lot of pace and strength up front. It's a very, very difficult game, but it is basically a must-win game for us. Like I said, it will be very difficult, but we have to win. We just have to win to stop the criticism, to stop people from talking about a crisis, to calm the team and the fans down. Basically, we have to win at least 3 of our next 4 games, and we can't lose any of those. Watford, now at home. Everton in the League Cup on Wednesday, I think. Bournemouth away after that, and then Roma away. It will be very tough, especially with all the injuries we have at the moment, but we have to. We have to find a way to win 3 of those 4 games. We just have to find a way, because otherwise the media will start kicking off again, just like they did in the 15-16 season. And I still believe that if the media didn't kick off as much as they did at the time, as much as we were doing very badly, maybe it wouldn't have gone that badly, because the media affect the players. They shouldn't, but they always do. They always do. And social media as well. So all of you out there that tell Willian to die or to join his mother, you know, all these kind of things, they affect players. So if you wanted to play better, stop insulting him. Stop wishing him death. You know, that would help. By the way, I'm not saying that any of you that are actually watching this video do that, but I've seen people on Twitter do that, and it's mental, and it aggravates me so much. We're now actually coming to Antonio Conte's press conference. First, he was asked about team news, and he didn't really give a very helpful answer. He said he can't tell anything about the team tomorrow. He's hoping to recover some players in the next 24 hours that we have left to the game. Cesc Fabregas might be the only available senior central midfielder, as Bakayoko is carrying a minor groin injury that he picked up against Roma. David Luiz with the calf problem I've mentioned, which is why he came off against Roma. And the way Conte spoke, there could be more doubts, as he said yes a lot to the question whether there are some players in doubt for the game. He was asked and talked about Danny Drinkwater. He said he's progressing well in his recovery. He started to do part of the training sessions, but we must still be patient with him. Very strange situation for me. Like, how can you be out for that long if it's just a minor calf injury, as they explained it? You know, he was meant to be back after the last international break. We played 3 games instead, and he's only starting to train, basically. So that is very strange. Then he was asked about N'Golo Kante, and that's the only really good news we have. He said he's progressing well as well. He obviously had his 2nd scan last week, which was better, much better than the scan he had before. And Conte hopes to have him back before the international break, which and the last 2 games we have before the international break are Roma away and Man United at home. So let's pray to God that he is back for those games, because without him, I don't really know how we're gonna, you know, get anything from those 2 games, to be honest. Then the last mentionable thing from the press conference was him responding to the rumours that some players are unhappy with his training methods. Conte said that he has the same methods as he did last season when we won the league, but because of so many more games, we train 70% less anyway, because we have to recover from games a lot, and we can't do that much technical work, we can't do that much physical work. So, you know, basically didn't really get into if players are happy or not. You know, I doubt that anyone is majorly unhappy. You know, of course, some players are going to be unhappy when they feel tired, but you still have to work. You know, when you're playing like we are, you can't just not train, you know, and just expect for it to get better. It's not going to work now, is it? I come to Chelsea. But how on earth am I going to predict the lineup, the score, and even how the match will go if I basically have no idea whatsoever who's available? I have no idea. I mean, we will have to go 3-4-3. Just because we might not even have 2 midfielders available, and that is counting David Luiz as a midfielder. The question is, isn't it worth risking 1 or 2 players just so we can finally get a win, taking some pressure off ourselves? At the same time though, even with the best players, especially if they're not 100% fit, will we even win? So is it then worth it? Probably not. To be honest, I don't know if there's any point in me guessing a lineup right now if I don't know who's available, but I might as well try. As Conte is usually, I think, rather careful with injuries, this is what I think we'll go with. Thibaut Courtois in goal. Cesar Spilicueta the right side of centre-back. Gary Cahill or Rudiger as the central centre-back. Neither of them usually Conte uses in that position, but one of them in my predicted lineup has to play there, so, you know, whichever way you will, to be honest. Zappacosta and Alonso as the two wing-backs, and then Andreas Christensen next to Cesc Fabregas in the holding midfield role. Christensen did play in that CDM role a few times for Borussia Mönchengladbach, but, you know, he hasn't played it regularly, and then the front three, I think those are all available in Hazard, Pedro and Morata. Like I said, this is a complete guess. Maybe both Luiz and Bakayoko will play. Who knows? Maybe someone else is a doubt that, you know, we don't know about even. Maybe Ampadu or Scott will start. I have no idea. You know, this is just what, with, you know, just thinking all those players that are a doubt, you know, that we know of, will miss the game. That is what I'd go with. Or that is what I think Conte might go with. Now, talking about a score prediction, if I'm honest, I don't think we'll win. As much as I said earlier, it's a must-win game. I just don't know how we'll win. Watford are playing very well, and we're not. We have massive injury problems. So unless Hazard and or Morata just produce a piece of magic, I don't see how we'll win. We can't keep clean sheets at the moment. So we'll need a mighty performance from the forwards. I can't make a score prediction without even knowing who's available. But I'd say we'll probably draw. Sorry, this is a bit depressing. I mean, again, if Hazard and Morata just produce a magical performance with including, you know, Fabregas and Pedro, we can very well win. Our players are better than their players, but they just work better as a team at the moment. Like I said, they've had a very good start to the season so far, and we really haven't. But yeah, that's it from me. This might be a lot longer because obviously I wanted to explain what happened at Roma, why people criticize Conte so much, and I wanted that to stop. Basically, I wanted to just explain to as many people as I could, try to explain it as objectively as I could, that some people might change their opinion on, you know, hating on Conte and wanting him out and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, that's it from me. Leave me all of your thoughts down in the comment section below on what I said in the beginning on the game against Watford. Do you have any predicted lineups? You know, your score predictions? Leave it all down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Follow me on social media, Last1507 on Instagram and Twitter. Massively appreciate that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to 100% Chelsea, but just by clicking that button over here. We massively appreciate that as well. Thank you guys for watching. Even with all the injuries, I'm still buzzing for the game tomorrow. Up the Chelsea. And I'll see you next time.